Welcome back, race fans, to the tunnel turn, where things get a little hairy.
But that's the way we like it.
You know it. I'm Phil. This is Christina, and boy, oh boy, did things get hairy today.
That they did.
It was craziness. This was everything you expect from a Talladega race.
But before we get into that, we need to discuss the elephant in the room, or should I say the noose in the garage.
Which it's really a shame that this happened. It's what it's really doing. It's showing that NASCAR made the right call on the Confederate flag, because people that do this need to be removed from NASCAR.
Amen. That was a disgusting act. Thank God Bubba himself didn't see it. And the saddest part is, Alabama is his hometown. He's from Mobile, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's terrible to do that to him. You know, it's not Bubba's fault. And to put it on one man because he was the last one to ask for it in NASCAR. NASCAR has been a long time wanting to do it. I mean, they proved it by that time they were passing your flags for American flags or whatever it was. This needs to end. It needs to go away. We are all the same on the inside.
Right. We want to talk about racing. We don't want to talk about this kind of stuff.
But it's there, and
it's here. I mean, it's one. You know, it was one thing when they had the truck parade Sunday morning, and you know, even the plane flying the flag around saying defund NASCAR. You know, that was bad enough, but.
That's their right to protest, and they're doing that, and they're doing it peacefully. Whether you like it or not, that's what they were doing. However, that's a lot different than putting a noose.
Right, that is legally a hate crime.
Yes,
that is a criminal act. The FBI is getting involved.
I hope they prosecute whoever did this to the full extent of the law. I hope they make him a laughing stock of the world.
Whoever it is. It does not matter who it is.
And I'm mostly glad that at the end of the race, Bubba himself got up on that track and said, "You ain't taking my smile away.
Right.
You ain't taking nothing from me. I'm going to rise above you.
Mm-hmm.
When you go low, we go high."
Mm-hmm. Which brings us to the great moment at the beginning of the race when all 40 drivers walked out and pushed his car to the front of the grid. And not just the drivers, it was all the crews. It was everybody. They all walked together. They all stood together.
Even Richard Petty was there.
Yeah, Richard Petty is the first time he's been in a race since the coronavirus outbreak, and he came to support his driver. You know, it was a good moment to start the race.
It was definitely a breath of fresh air. It was, I mean, it was so emotional. I mean, you got to give it to NASCAR. They always know what to do. It's almost like, I want to say a family or a brotherhood. You know, they're going to fight every week because that's what they do. They're on these tracks every week, all together, all year long. And family gets into fights, but you know what? When it's time to stand together and it's time to pull ranks, they always stand together.
Right. They race together. They're brothers pretty much. It's like a brotherhood being in the Cup Series. It was really good to see.
Hashtag I stand with Bubba. But now, let's get to the reason why you tuned in to the tunnel turn. Let's get to Talladega.
Man, Talladega. I mean, this was just a classic Talladega race. It was great from start to finish. We didn't have any of that time where guys were single file. The closest we had to that is when Blaney was leading for a bit, but it was only the first 4 or 5 cars at the most.
And boy, them Penske boys stayed together all day.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. I mean, it seemed like almost the entire race, you look up and there's the 12, the 2, and the 22 car, nose to tail, pushing each other, keeping each other up there. You know, that Penske power is something else, man.
Oh yeah, they were the class of the race today, the Penske boys. It was insane. I mean, I was saying all race, I swear to God, it feels like they're pushing Blaney to the lead. They're pushing Blaney to the lead. He's going to win today. There's my pick, by the way.
Yeah.
Win number 2.
Yep, got to give some props over here. She picked Ryan Blaney to win. Ryan Blaney won it, even if it was just by a tiny little bit, and that was a crazy finish. But man, he did everything he could to win that race.
Oh yeah, he knocked Eric Jones at the end. Oh my God, it was crazy. It was insane. I was screaming at the television, even though it's 2 o'clock in the morning in my house. I was screaming at the television. Holy moly, what an end!
Yeah, man. I mean, even though Eric Jones was next to him, instead of messing with side draft, Ryan Blaney just went bam and put him up into the wall. That was like Days of Thunder style.
Oh my God! And Eric Almirola, they call him Almirola. Holy moly, coming in at the end with his butt end coming over to get third.
Yeah, he was going backwards. That was Ricky Bobby, wasn't it?
Holy moly!
That was such a crazy finish, and then Blaney and Stenhouse door to door, and Blaney getting it just by the nose. What a great finish that was.
It was just the topping on the cherry, the cherry on top of the sundae that was Talladega all day. I mean, we're writing down lead change after lead change after lead change, and I didn't even get half the lead changes written down.
Yeah, we couldn't even keep up. It seemed like every lap somebody else was leading, and then this guy was leading, and now
every half a lap.
Right, now Logano's leading, now Hamlin's leading, now Blaney's leading, now Keselowski's leading, now Chase is leading, now Reddick is leading. Whew, man, it was awesome.
It was a shitstorm and a half.
Yeah, you didn't want to miss a second.
No, there was no time to go to the bathroom, there was no time to take a break. You just wanted to tune in, buckle up, and stay there.
Yep. Yeah, man. And let's talk about the fact that they didn't throw a caution on that last lap when they were wrecking on the back straightaway. They let them go to race to the finish line, and I say bravo because you want to produce that. You want the race to the line, and the fact that they wrecked on the backstretch, the crew could still get over there. They didn't have to wait until they took the flag because the cars weren't going to be coming by the backstretch at full speed anymore.
Right, I was totally going to say the same thing. The crash was behind them. The leaders were coming to the line. Let them race.
Right, let the leaders race to the line.
Yes, let the leaders finish.
You can still attend to make sure everybody is okay because there's not going to be any more cars racing your way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they let it go. We had that super exciting race to the finish. Man,
it's just one to write in the books. It was the most exciting race I've seen in a long time. Talladega always is an exciting race, and just with the emotion of today, everything happening, the end, the crazy ending, everything, it was just a Talladega to remember for ages.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a great race for new fans to see how awesome NASCAR races can be. You saw probably one of the best races. I mean, Bristol earlier this year was a really great race, and I said that was going to be the best race of the year. This one, man, I don't know. Which do you think? Do you think this race was better than the Bristol race?
Ooh, that's tough because this was maybe I could say this was a little better because
Right, hey, let us know what you think. Maybe we could put a poll up.
So, which race do you think was better, Talladega or Bristol? Let us know. Comment below. We'll also put a poll on Twitter up.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think I'm going to lean towards this race because the finish, that finish was incredible.
I was insane.
It was incredible. Plus the fact that, there was just nonstop action all race long.
I mean, I'd have to agree with you. This was so much better. They didn't end it. It was a caution at the end. All through the races, but the end was caution free. Bristol was the caution to have somebody take the lead, and that's how it won. I liked how they raced to the line.
Yep.
I love when they let them do that, and I think they should, keep that into consideration for the future as far as don't, let them race at the end of the race.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely.
And no more yellow line.
Yes, no more yellow line, please. Because at that beginning on that restart with Eric Jones gets a penalty because he pushed this guy a little bit below the yellow line. Was there really a need for a penalty? If you take away the yellow line rule, did that really do a lot of damage to anybody?
Nope.
I think, once again, I still think it's an overreaction.
But it's
we
here
talked
to stay.
about we talked about that. on the Power Rankings preview. You can go ahead and check that out. And so we'll move on. Well, all right. Moving on, looking at the standings. Ryan Blaney, as we already discussed, that was his first win of the season, which gets him some good playoff points, which gets him locked into the chase, or the playoffs, I'm sorry. Ricky Stenhouse, yeah, he had another good showing, finishing second. That's pretty good for him. Eric Almirola, like you already said, rolling across the finish line in reverse to finish third place because he was spinning. But hey, the result was still there, third place. Eric Jones, even though he got banged into the wall, still managed to get a top 5. Bowman finally had a good result.
And you didn't have him in your power
Yeah, when I
rankings.
finally put him out of my power rankings for his bad results, then he ends up with a solid top 10. You know. Let's talk about the rookie in the top 10, John Hunter Nemechek. Even though Tyler Reddick was running up there.
Didn't he spin out in the race at some point too?
Yes, there was one point with John Hunter Nemechek. He did spin out, went through the grass. It was good to see that he recovered. A top 10 finish. You know, that's
Second generation love.
That's a nice solid finish for that young rookie. Kurt Busch in the top 10, and Harvick, he was up there he was started first on that 2 lap to go restart. And that restart did not go well for him. He dropped all the way to 10th.
It's cool to see Harvick in top 10. Remember you told me he was doing bad. I should have had him.
Well, you should have had him lower because I had him 6th and he finished 10th. So if
Still.
anything, even I still had him a little bit
He
higher.
still rebounded. I mean, I know it's Dega,
But
so you can't really say for sure if it's a rebound.
Yep.
You know, that's Dega style.
Yep.
But
it was better than the last 2 races. He did end his no top 10 streak. You know, all right. Moving on to the second half of the top 20, we got, you know, Byron just barely missing himself a top 10. Jimmy Johnson 13th after spinning out at the end. That's pretty good. Bubba Wallace, after having to pit before that last restart with 2 laps to go, still managed to get himself up to 14th, which is a good finish for that team.
oh, Bubba.
You know, Ryan Preece, you know, let's give some credit to that guy. I mean, 15th, I mean, when was the last time he did that? He's
Like never?
Yeah, he's hardly ever even in the top
Who?
20. You know, Logano, you know, that's a bit disappointing considering he was in the top 5 and up front pretty much all day. Yeah, LaJoy is not too bad. Same with McDowell, 18th, you know. I mean, Keselowski and Reddick, they were both up there.
No, what happened to the DN?
Yeah, when they didn't pit, you know, they just dropped. They just got left behind. It was not a good finish for them, even though they were up there all race long.
That's Talladega for you.
Yeah, that is. It's Talladega. All right, so moving on to the points after race number 13, which means we are officially at the halfway point of the regular season. So now, you know, these drivers and crews, they're really starting to look closer and closer at this.
Oh, yeah.
Because they got to get advanced and they got to get in the playoffs.
Yep, they gotta make sure they're making all the right moves to get where they need to be.
Mm-hmm. As they said on TV, before you would say we're going to let the points come to us, well, now you've got to start making moves. Kevin Harvick obviously is okay. He's still on top with a couple wins, so he's in a good spot. Logano takes second because of Chase Elliott's unfortunate spin, which knocks him down a couple spots to 4th. Ryan Blaney with his win moves up a couple spots to 3rd. He's looking really good. He keeps sneaking up a little bit higher, You know, and unfortunately Brad Keselowski lost a spot because he, like I said, he dropped back to 19th. That's just not the result that they were looking for. Truex also drops a spot because he wasn't even in the top 20. He finished 25th. I mean, he wasn't even there. I don't even recall seeing him much today.
I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. That's why I didn't put him in my power rankings, because he has the worst luck at Talladega. And once again, he proves it.
Yep. So, moving on, so Eric Almirola, he moves up a spot. securing himself into 12th.
They call him the
Yep. He's keeping himself in a steady spot in points where he doesn't have to rely on getting a win. Obviously, I'm sure he wants to get a win. He was really going for it today. Just came up short, and he backed into a third-place finish. We'll go on to the bubble. We got Boyer in 13th. He's only 23 points ahead of 17th, so it's all pretty tight right there. Byron keeps sneaking up a little bit more. A couple weeks ago, he was out of it. Now he's 14 points to the good. Matt DiBenedetto is getting closer and closer to the cut line. Reddick and Jones, I mean, if Jones had won the race, this would look completely different.
Oh, yeah.
And he had the momentum, he had the move to win. If it wasn't for Blaney just pulling the old cold trickle on him and just boom, get right up out of
Robin's
there.
racing.
But that's racing, that's Talladega, that's what we love. We're not gonna fault him for it.
Don't hit the pace car.
Yeah, Austin Dillon, 24 points. He's up and he's down. He's up and he's down. But unfortunately, there was nothing he could have done with that Chase Elliott incident.
No, there's nothing. He just was stuck in a spot. There was just
wrong.
Because the same thing happened with when Jimmy turned. It was the same thing over again. It was just they got stuck in that little that spot, and there was just nothing they could do.
Yeah, it was just the wrong. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and Chase spun. Bam.
But the insanity is he didn't hit, except for the one car that caught the bumper. There was no big one.
Yeah, there wasn't a big one. We didn't have any cars flying, so we did a good job in this race as far as that one.
Definitely.
All right, now these are the points though that everybody is really fighting to be on top of, because this is what's going to get them to that championship point, the playoff points. Because when you got these playoff points, that's where you're going to get started well. When it comes playoff time, it'll give you a great advantage. There wasn't a whole lot of change from last week with Reddick and Stenhouse winning the stages. Blaney winning the race did get him a little bit in the picture, but the top still remains the same as it did last week. Yeah.
So the 2 stages he won didn't help him? Because he did win he won the last stage, right?
Blaney didn't win any stage. He won the race.
That's right, because they knocked, that's right, because, okay.
Right, there's the 2 stages, and then there's the race.
Okay.
So, and Blaney won the race for 5 playoff points versus the stages that are 1 playoff point.
Okay.
As I was saying, the top stays the same. Denny Hamlin's still sitting on top mainly because of his 3 wins. And Logano.
Not a bad place to be.
Logano, Keselowski, Harvick, Chase, Bowman, all separated by 1 point each. Very, very tight. Truex and Blaney hanging in there with 7 and 6 points, respectively. That's the top half of the playoffs right there, and that's going to be a very good race when they get right down to it.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait till the playoffs.
Oh man, it's always exciting when playoff time comes around.
I can't wait till the cutoff race before the playoffs start.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's all said and done, right?
Yep, that's about it for Talladega.
Well, you could wrap that up in a pretty little bow and set it away. Alright, coming up this week on the Tunnel Turn, it's going to be an exciting week. Tune in, obviously, for the race recap. We're dropping today or tomorrow, I believe. But anyway, we also have part 2 of top 10 tracks you have to see as a new NASCAR fan. That will also be dropping in the coming days. Do not miss either. If you miss out, you get to miss out on all the weird.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. If you haven't seen part 1, feel free to check that out.
Definitely check out part 1, because part 1 is just as exciting as part 2, but part 2 is a can't miss. Top 5 tracks you have to see as a new NASCAR fan.
Mm-hmm. And then in the weekend, we got a Pocono doubleheader, which means we got a Cup race on Saturday and a Cup race on Sunday, along with ARCA races and Xfinity races thrown in between.
Right, so due to scheduling conflicts, we will only be doing 1 power rankings for both races. We'll try to do a small recap in between both if possible. If not, we will do 1 big recap for the whole weekend.
Mm-hmm. There will definitely be a recap at the end. We're not going to say for certain if we're going to get a recap in the middle, like she said. We're going to try. Hopefully we will. And that's what we got coming up.
Well, how much coffee do you have?
We got as much as you need, sweetie.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Alright, so is there anything else?
I can't think of anything except for tuning into Pocono next week. It is,
Alright, Saturday we got the Pocono Organics 325 at 3:30 on Fox. And Sunday we got the Pocono 350 at 4 on FS1. These races are definitely shorter, which is good news, right?
yeah, I'm so glad they're shorter because it's got to be easier on the drivers. These long weeks have got to be really, really hard on them. And Pocono can be a really long race at 500 miles. So when they went to 400 miles, it was a little better, but it's still a long race.
Especially with it being a double header,
Right,
Saturday and Sunday.
You know, I'm not going to promise every track is the most exciting race. You know, check out my top 10 for the most exciting races.
Yeah,
Pocono ain't the best one, but
yeah, it
they
can
have
produce a good finish.
Yes, it can produce a good finish.
But it's very hit and miss. Sometimes it'll be a good finish. Other times, guy will be just drove off and that's it.
But give it a chance because with it shorter, it might give the race a whole new perspective or a whole new maybe different way of looking at it. You never know.
We'll get to that on this weekend. We'll get to Pocono.
Definitely. Power rankings coming up. 2 to, was it nothing for you, sweetheart?
As far as winner picks, yes.
That's right.
But that's okay. I have no problem being wrong about this one. Alright, so that's it. If you liked us, please like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell so that way you can catch every video that drops when we drop it.
And tell your friends about the Tunnel Turn, the Fans Perspective Race Channel. For fans, by fans.
So, until next time, have a good day.
Bye.